Hello and welcome to Azariah's Studio. My name is Sarah. I am the artist and designer behind Azariah's Studio. I'm going to show you how to work into a chain. If you want to follow along with me, just get your hook and yarn and chain about 10 or 12 stitches. Quite often when you're crocheting, after you have made your chain, you will be asked to work in the opposite side of the chain, especially if you are making something that is not circular, but worked in the round, beginning of a baby bootie perhaps, part of an amigurumi. So how do you work in the opposite side of a chain? Well, part of that is going to depend on which chain loops you worked in to begin with. I have my chain here. This is we'll call this the right side. This is the back side. So from this side, the right side, if I'm going to have to work in the opposite side of the chain, I prefer to work into both of these loops. Remember, you do not work into the first chain, you always work into at least the second chain. The pattern might be telling you to work into the third, fourth, or even further chain. I like to work into both loops, so I insert the hook into the front loop and the back loop. We're just going to do a single crochet. Front loop and the back loop. This first row, which is going to become a round, possibly, this could still be a row, I'll explain in a moment, is going to be slower. At the end, I will show some other methods of which chain to work into. If your pattern does not specify, you can pick. I like to do this even if I'm not going to be working into the opposite side of the chain, because to me this is sturdier than some of the other methods, and I'll talk more about that here in just a minute. All right, this is my final chain, and it can get a bit tricky, but you still want to make sure you get both of those loops. Now with the final one, which is now becoming the first one as we go back down the other side, it's actually the same hole. So I'm going to work 3 in this. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. I'm just going to work 3 because it'll make the work lay neater. So all 3 of those guys, so the first one I worked into the last chain, and then the next 2, they're all in that same hole. Now these bumps here are the opposite side of the chain. So I want to pick up, it's just one loop, and I'm going to work a single crochet in each of those single loops there. All right, and I'm back to the last one, or the very first one, however you want to look at that. I'm going to work 2 in here. And if I was going to be working into the round, then I would join as the pattern specifies and do whatever comes next. This is in the round. They look like they're growing apart out from each other. So while it looks like you have 2 rows, it's actually only 1 round. Recently, I was working a pattern where you worked along both sides of the chain, but when you got to this point, you chained, you turned, and you worked back, increasing in this center stitch again as before. And it grew this way and this way, but not this way. So just be sure and pay attention to your directions and know what it is that you've got going on. So now I will show you some other ways to work into the chain. So this time I'm going to work into just this loop, just this top loop. This is how I started out when I was first crocheting, was working into just this top loop. I'm going to go ahead and finish this row, and then I'm going to show it to you. And again, I started into the second chain, because starting in the first chain is not going to work. All right, last one. See, there's bigger loops this time. So let's go ahead and do 2 more like before. We'll just do 1 more actually. Now we're going to work in the opposite side of the chain, which is the remaining loops, the bottom loop that was left over. We're going to work 2 in that first one so that we can match the other side. You can see that there are holes. Do it this way. You see the holes there? That's why I don't like working into the one loop and then the other loop on the other side. And there's one more you'll see. It is only slightly different than where we started, but to me it just feels very awkward. All right, so I'm back to that same chain. Here's the top side of the chain, front side, and here's the back side. So I'm actually going to flip it to the back side. I'm going to pick up the chain bump. And it's just that single loop that we had as a leftover on the first one we did. I don't feel like this is extremely sturdy. And the last one gets really tricky to do. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, because the last one is this loop here that's like coming right off of your slip stitch. Now it would be the same way as the first one if we are going to work in the round. I don't want my tail. We'll work 2 more in here, and it's the same loop basically. And then if we're going to work in the round, I'm just going to keep going here. Let's try that again. Only this time we're going into 2. So it's kind of like doing what we did on the first try backwards. All right. And it looks about the same, and it's got the same stretch and give and what have you. The advantage of this one, however, is if you make your foundation chain and there's not going to be an edging like on a blanket, if you're going to be putting squares together for something, this will be your bottom edging. It's really nice because, let me get everybody pulled out. Okay. Okay, maybe not that far. All right, it's really nice because you have 2 loops. These are going to be easy to join into if you're putting squares together. It's also a nice finished edge if this is the edge of your blanket. If you're putting an edging on though, I would rather do it the other way personally and have the edging in the 1 loop and the main part of the blanket in the 2 loops, but that's just personal preference. So that is how you work in the opposite side of a chain. Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, be sure to like and subscribe. If you have more questions, you can always email me, Sarah@azariasfiberarts.com, or drop a comment below. Happy making!